Hi, this is Carl Polachuk with another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about how to implement SOPs in a way that actually works. The other day I was teaching a class and I asked the fundamental question: what is the single biggest problem you have in your IT business? And a number of people mentioned too many SOPs, not implementing SOPs, SOPs are inconsistent, we're overwhelmed by SOPs. We want to do the right thing, we even know what we want to do, but we are literally overwhelmed. How do you do this? It's one of those things where I know I need to, how do I get started? And you know, the getting started is one of the biggest pieces. And so I was happy to find a graphic of a shipping ships. The point is, that ship doesn't turn on a dime. When you have thousands of things that need to be implemented in your IT business, you have to start somewhere. So let me give you some tips about what I would do if I was your extremely highly paid coach. Oddly enough, don't start with the SOP. Start with your problems. What are the problems inside your company? When I ask people this, number one, almost always on the list, is how do I get more clients, or I need more clients? Followed by how do I onboard these clients? Followed by how do I get good employees? Followed by how do I train my employees, right? There's a standard set of issues that people have. They rarely have the issue that there's not enough work or there aren't enough things to do. You have things to do, you have enough work, and it's the busyness of the day-to-day activity that makes it hard to make decisions, make big changes in your company, and implement SOPs. So here's what I would say. The first thing you want to do is to write down your biggest problems. And I would only write down 3. If you end up writing down 10, that's fine, but you need to prioritize them. Look at your biggest 3 problems in your company. And then think about that for a while. Let it sit for a day or two. Ask your team. Make sure that everybody pretty much agrees. Those are the big 3. Like, those are the things we need to do. After that, you literally have created the priorities. You now know what your number 1 problem in your company is. So the next step is, how do you solve that problem with a process? What process would fix that? And the reason I say process is SOPs are great, but the reality is standard operating procedures amount to, you have to have a process that's like a machine, that you have an input and you crank the crank and out comes an output. That's a process ultimately. So what can you do in your company so that you have a process for getting more clients, for getting better applicants for jobs, for training your employees, for getting your accounts receivable, for getting technicians to put in their time? Whatever it is, there's a procedure out there somewhere for you. So that's the 1-2 step, priorities and process. But I have to promise you and be very honest, this is not easy. This is not something that you're going to do overnight. It's not quick. But don't freak out. Remember, running a business, whether you're the owner or a service manager or whatever, running a business is hard. Right? That's why they call it work. Ultimately, you have to think of this as a series of marathons. These are not sprints. You don't implement a process and all just like that overnight you've changed your business. You start with your highest priority because that's where you have the biggest pain that needs to be relieved. Once you solve your biggest problem, then you move to your next biggest problem. And ultimately, you're constantly working on the single most important thing that has to be changed inside your business. But again, when you think of this as a marathon, this is something that solving one problem might take you months In fact, it might take you years. So don't be overwhelmed. You will never run out of things to fix and change and update inside your business. But you need to start taking one step every day, and eventually you'll get there. You know, I mapped from one city to another in California the other day, and I didn't switch it from walking to driving. And so it said it was going to be 30 hours. And I was like, you know what? San Francisco to my house is only 30 hours of walking. I don't know why. I was kind of surprised by that. 30 hours is more than I would ever want to walk, but somehow in my brain, it's doable. Like I could see me walking for an hour. I could see me walking for 2 hours. And 30 hours just doesn't seem like that much more. My point is, big chores can be broken down into smaller pieces, but you need to get into the habit of doing that work. So when you have the mentality that this is a marathon, also have the mentality that you can only do so much in a day. So don't get frustrated with the long list of things to do. Don't get frustrated with the long road ahead. That's business. That is what you are here for. And in fact, it's much better for you to work on it for an hour, 2 hours a week, and then go do other things. Let your brain relax a little bit. You will solve a lot of problems once you've put it at the top of your mind. I need to fix this problem. I need to fix this problem. I need to fix this problem. I'm going to put a link down below to a video I did on the RAS, the Reticular Activating System. I won't go into it here, but basically you can prime your brain to think about whatever you want, and it will solve problems in the background while you're doing other things. So make sure that you implement a RAS process as well. So what has all that got to do with a shipping ships? Well, remember that ship can only turn a little at a time, but once you start identifying your priorities and working through them, and every day, every week, doing a tiny bit and a tiny bit and a tiny bit, eventually you do change the direction that the ship of your business is heading in. You can improve things every day. You just have to work at it a tiny little bit at a time. Don't be overwhelmed by the fact that the numbers are huge and you have thousands of processes. The reality is my 4-volume set on standard operating procedures wasn't written in a day or a month or a year. It was written over the course of 10 years of putting processes and procedures into place and writing them down and documenting them. That made it possible to put together books with instructions on how those checklists work, how things flow. I'm not suggesting you write a 4-volume set of books, but you have to start somewhere. And to be honest, the final tip is look at somebody else's processes and procedures. It's much easier to edit something if there's words on a page. It's very difficult to edit a blank page. So don't recreate the wheel. Even if you change 90% of what's there, it will get your brain tuned into thinking about the problem and how you would do it in your business. Ultimately, your most powerful branding is how you do every little thing you do in your business. So it is work that is worth doing, and you need to engage your entire team. I hope that's helpful. Please like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and please give me your comments down below if you have any questions or comments. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polachuk, wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business.